Hello, you beautiful, beautiful listeners. Are you ready for some reviews? Because I got them. I got them ready to go. I am pumped. I just finished a show not 5 minutes ago and immediately was like, put a mic in front of my mouth because I am so excited to tell you all about it. I have some must watches. I have some stuff that needs to go straight to the garbage. And I have a lot of thoughts on high school. High school's been on my mind and I'll tell you all about it. But first, let's hear my intro song.
Are we kidding? Oh my gosh, I love that.
First show of the day, Maxton Hall on Amazon Prime. Let me just say, when I saw this trailer, it was an immediate no for me. Not only because it was clearly being dubbed in English, and I have thoughts on that, but it was so cheesy. The trailer turned me off so quick. But there was just something in me that said, I feel like people are going to be watching this and talking about it, so I want to have an opinion. And wow, am I glad I did. Going into it, you need to know a couple things. Number one, it is a German show dubbed in English. I personally prefer to listen to shows in their language, and then I just read subtitles. I can read subtitles all day. I got no problem reading a subtitle. But this one didn't have that option. So it took me a second, and by a second, I mean like the entire first episode, to really get behind the English being dubbed on top of the mouths that are moving. I say that because they're just speaking another language, but it doesn't sync up with the sound, obviously. And that low-key drives me crazy. But I was willing to suffer through because this show, it gave me everything that I had been missing the past couple weeks. Bridgerton gave me nothing. We all know how I feel about that. It was so disappointing. Maxton Hall refilled my cup. The music alone in that show was so good. The one thing that I will say is you do need to make sure that you have your phone translate app ready because there's going to be quite a few conversations over text that you're going to need to take pictures of and then plug into that translate app to know what they're saying because it does add to the story. I'll tell you that right now. I kept having to pause and my roommate was like, "What are you doing?" Me like zooming in on my camera from my couch. I was like, "Don't worry about it. I'm just translating these texts." I need to make sure I know what's happening. There was so much angst in that show. It was so good. It was an enemies to lovers, rich boy, poor girl that has the smarts. She's invisible. All of a sudden he sees her. Ooh, it was really delivering. It gave me Summer I Turned Pretty vibes in the sense that it's not high class. I mean, this is high school we're talking about. Think Pretty Little Liars, Gossip Girl, Vampire Diaries. If you are a fan of those things, oh, you hop on this train immediately. You press play, girl. If none of those things appeal to you, you know what? Maybe not your vibe. It's pretty juvenile as far as plot goes. I mean, you can only do so much with high school students, but there was just something about it. It just had all the things that you wanted, you know? The chemistry and the back and forth and the bickering. It was just really doing it for me. It was just really what I was looking for and what I feel like a lot of these other shows that I've been watching have been missing. What I like about The Summer I Turned Pretty is that show feels very fresh, very summery, even though I have major things to say about freaking Conrad. Oh my gosh, get that sad boy out my face. Jeremiah is so much cuter, so much happier. Belly, no, okay, no, we've discussed it before. I can't do it again. The Summer I Turned Pretty, though, I will continue to watch because it's addictive. It's just the mom's plot part of it I do skip because I have no interest in that. It was very boring to me. But the brother dynamic, it was interesting. It held me. And the cinematography and the music is what really did it for me. But I felt like this one grabbed me even more. I liked it slightly more. If you are a fan of The Summer I Turned Pretty, if you binged that, go binge Maxton Hall on Amazon Prime. It's 6 episodes. I'm already heartbroken that the second season isn't out because I'm a binger and I just need it all right now. Wow, so good. I really enjoyed it. It just really scratched that itch, you know? Fair warning, in the very last episode, when things are getting a little steamy, there is like 10 seconds of female nudity. It was a surprise to me, to be honest. I did not expect that. But fair warning to all of you who try and avoid that. It's not very long, but it does occur. So there you go. Personal rating on just entertaining scale. We don't look too deep into shows like this. We stay pretty surface level. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Oh, it was solid. I really did feel that. And I would recommend it to a lot of people. Public, I'm going to go slightly higher, 7.5. I think the dubbed in English part might hold quite a few people up from watching it, but I'm telling you, look past it because it is really good. Next, we have a complete flop. Don't you dare waste a second on Baby Driver, located on Netflix. Wow. I cannot believe I watched this entire thing. I did start to fast forward and skip midway through, but even then, I should have given up moments in. But yet, I still tried to stick around. I don't even know why. I wanted it to be good, so I kept willing it to happen, and then it never did. Oh, it was horrible. It did make me reflect on the time that Ansel Elgort was the it boy of the moment. Do you guys remember that split second in time when he was considered like it, and then it turned into Noah Centineo, and then they both have just fallen off the face of the planet. I don't find them attractive at all. And what have they even been in recently? Don't know. This was made during the time that he was the it boy. So he had, the look. It was 2017 when it was made. So I thought maybe it had some potential. It had none. It failed. Skip it. Personal rating, we're gonna do 2 out of 10. I'm being generous there. To be a 1 out of 10, you have to be just awful, horrible. I might start a petition to get you off of streaming services bad, Also, my scale for my ratings, how I judge things, that is going to be on the highlight section of my Instagram. So if you ever want to know what I'm judging things on, I'll have my personal and then the public as well. Next up, we have Juno, which, shocking that I've never seen this before, I know, because it was an Oscar winner. I've seen it forever as an option to watch, but I don't know, I just never did. But this week was the week. I loved it. It's on Hulu. I personally love a coming of age story. Although that wasn't completely what this was, it's in the same genre. I really enjoyed it. It felt very indie, creative, not for everybody. So personal rating for Juno, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I really liked it. It had Jennifer Garner in it too. And public, I would probably do a 5 out of 10. I just don't think it's gonna be people's pick of the night when they're scrolling through movie selections, Next, we have Miller's Girl on Netflix. I will not be taking questions at this time regarding why I clicked on this. I really was in it for Jenna Ortega. I got midway through and was like, I don't know about this. And then I ended up skipping to the end. Yeah, it was a no. It was a no for me. For many reasons. Crossed a personal boundary line of morality for me that I couldn't really get behind. I almost wasn't even going to tell you guys that I watched it, but for anybody that wanted to, pass. Don't. It's not good. It's really not. Next, we have Big Mood. This was on Tubi. I think I'm going to start watching more things on Tubi because there wasn't commercials. It was great. 30-minute episodes with Nicola, who plays Penelope on Bridgerton. I absolutely loved it. Her acting was so good, and the topic of mental health that is present and talked about and shown in this show was unbelievable. She has bipolar disorder and she's getting off of her medication. She just stops cold turkey because she doesn't like all the side effects. And just seeing her dynamics with her friend and trying to live her life, it was so good. I binged it in a day. If you suffer with mental illness or have someone that suffers with mental illness, I felt like this was one of the most real and raw depictions. And it did have some comedic elements to it, which I really liked. My personal scale, 8.5 out of 10. And for the public, I'm going to go a little bit lower just because this topic and subject matter is not for everybody. So I'm going to say a 6.5 out of 10. Lastly, we have The Little Rascals, which I have not seen in over a decade, but I was with my family and we decided to watch it together. Man, does that movie still hit today. It is so adorable and cute and actually hilarious. Oh my gosh, the one-liners in that show, are we kidding? They are so good. That and The Sandlot. I think that those two movies will just stand the test of time forever. Maybe Forrest Gump can also be clumped in there as well. I think that those are just movies. You don't even realize how many quotes are coming from them until you watch it. Oh, it's so good. I got a dollar, I got a dollar, I got a dollar, hey, 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 hey. The He-Man Woman Haters Club. Alfalfa. If you have seen the show, you probably have this memorized because I know I do. I didn't even know that I did until it started playing. When he goes, "Dear Darla, I hate your stinking guts. You make me vomit. You're scum between my toes. Love, Alfalfa." Oh, what a classic. I mean, don't tell me that's not so funny. If you haven't seen it, it is definitely worth the watch. It is just delightful. I'm going to give it 7 out of 10 for me and for the public. It's just getting solid scores across the board. To end this segment, I'm just going to mention one more show because it also has Nicola in it. And since I've already mentioned one with her and we talked about Bridgerton last week, it feels fitting. If you have not seen Dairy Girls on Netflix, start that immediately. If you like a 30-minute comedy episode, that one is so funny. It's hilarious. It took me a second to get into, but it's based in Ireland. It is just one of those ones that you can put on in the background and it's funny and entertaining, but you don't necessarily have to be paying tons of attention to. You know, if you are, you're going to pick up on a lot of great things, but you don't have to. And the episodes are connected, but they're also kind of not. So you can kind of pick and choose if you want. It's only 3 seasons. It's just a really good quick binge. One of these days, I'm going to do my Irish accent. Oh, I don't even know what that was in that Bridgerton episode. I butchered my English accent, but heaven knows it wasn't that. I don't know what that was, and I deeply regret doing it, but there was no other take that I had done that I could put in the edit. So yeah, we're going to ignore that because my Irish accent is actually fire. I'm not going to put it on display for right now. Not because I'm like being shy or coy. Like, nah, I'll proudly show you my Irish accent. But I'm actually going to save it for my episode with my friend Taylor. We're going to get into why my Irish accent is pretty good. I mean, I don't want to say it's incredible because there's always going to be someone out there that's like, it's not that great. Okay, well, it's pretty solid because I have been working on it and honing it for years. We will get into it on my episode with Taylor, so I will just save it for now. Just know the week that I was watching Dairy Girls, I was speaking in a nonstop Irish accent. My roommate, probably for the first day or so, thought it was hilarious, and then I'm sure it got super annoying, but I just can't help it. When I hear an Irish accent, I must imitate. It's the only one that I can do, so I have to do it. In Dairy Girls, I got real good. There's something to look forward to, a little tease, if you will, even though I hate teases, so I'm so sorry to do that to you, but it will be coming soon. As far as a rating goes on Dairy Girls, for me, it's going to be an 8 out of 10. I find it extremely entertaining. General public, we're going to go 6.5 out of 10. Great show. Highly recommend. Is there anything else that I need to report back on? Survivor just finished. It's still early days, so I won't spoil who the winner was yet. I was happy, but I also wasn't happy. You know what I mean? Like, I was good either way, but also I was sad, but I was happy. If you've seen it, you know what happens. I will save my full review of this past season of Survivor for another episode, just in case anyone hasn't had a chance to see it yet. I don't want to spoil it. Alright guys, it is time to get into it. My thoughts that I have on the noggin, the front of the brain, things that are just going to spill out my mouth. We're both going to find out together what I have to say. Starting off, shout out to my friend Kiera from our last episode. Love her. We were discussing the horrible, terrible thing that is high school reunions. Now, I do need it stated, never been to one myself, so I am coming from that very prejudiced point of view. But here's what gets me. Kiara is planning a high school reunion right now, her 10-year. She was telling me all about how horrible it has been to plan this alone, and she drops the bomb. It is the past students that pay for their own high school reunion, the student council, and then they sell tickets to get the money back. I'm sorry. That's insane. She's taking me through this whole process, and the whole time I just keep asking this one question. Why? Why do you have to do this? Why is this an obligatory thing? Why are there high school reunions? Why is this happening? Who's going to these? I'm just not understanding how she's forking out literally thousands of dollars for this party when we don't need to have a party. Why are we having one? So she then tells me that, well, when you're on student council, you like sign a contract that you are going to be in charge of all of the reunions till the end of time, I guess. Are we kidding? I personally feel like anything that was done in the hallways of my high school, if it occurred while I was under government rule to be there, the second I got my diploma, I am washed clean of any obligation or any promises I made, any commitments. They are gone. Slate washed. It's like a baptism when you leave your high school. All of us in high school, whether you had a good or bad experience, we should not be fully accountable for those things that we said, did, and committed to. Is anyone else on board for this? Because yes, you were reaching an age of maturity. So some could argue the whole like, well, when you're 18, you're still senior, but you're an adult. That is actual garbage. You are not an adult. No, you're not. Okay, maybe by the government's eyes, but come on. Any one of us who is reflecting back on our 18-year-old self, let's be straight up and honest, we were not adults. We didn't even know what that meant. And all these like 20-year-olds out here being like, I've done nothing with my life and I'm already 20. Can we stop? Remember my saying from a couple episodes ago, 30 is the new 20. Let's stop with the madness. Someone take me through, hold my hand, and we're gonna walk step by step through the process of a high school reunion. Okay, you signed a contract that you have to do that. I think it's actually insane that these members from student council now have this responsibility for what? Forever? No. That's no. Especially nowadays. Why are we having reunions? We all have social media. It has taken over our entire lives. It's sucking the souls out of all of us. But you know what it's also doing? It's keeping me abreast of anybody that I want to be in the know of. If I wanted to know what you were up to, you want to know what I would do? I wouldn't plan a reunion and go there and say, how you been? No, I know how you been because I follow you on Instagram. I follow you on Facebook. I am friends with all of my friends from high school. We hang out on a very regular basis, okay? So maybe other people can't relate to hanging out with people from high school and it can be nice to get together, but girl, plan that on your own time. Get brunch. Go take a plane and visit your friend. We don't need a high school reunion. I know what everyone has been up to. I know who's gotten divorced. I know who's gotten remarried. I know how many kids you have. I know their names, where you've been traveling. I know that because I follow you. Even if you're on mute, I'm still friends with you because, you know, occasionally you might get brought up in conversation and I need to be able to make sure that if you're private, I can still go see what you got going on. I know exactly what's been going on in your life. I do because I've been keeping tabs. And don't act like this is news. We all do this. Every single one of us does. And if you don't, honestly, kudos to you because you are a way better human. You are living on a different level and plane that I aspire to, that I strive to. Will I ever get there? Probably not, because I'm nosy. I like to know. I like to be in the know. Not having TikTok for the last 10 months, it's actually been horrible because I am behind on all of the TikTok sounds, all of the trends. I have never felt so on the outs before, but that one was for my own sanity and health. I had to cut myself off from that addiction. It was actually destroying my life. But with that being said, I still got Instagram. And when in doubt, when I'm in desperate need, I have Facebook. I've got Goodreads. I have other ways to keep up with the people that I want to keep up with. So I'm not understanding why high school reunions are a thing in today's day and age. Can't we just band together? Can't we all just say enough is enough? This made sense for our parents' generation because they didn't have social media. So this was the way that you kind of came back together, and schools were smaller, a little bit more tight-knit, or maybe that's just what the movies lead me to believe. But no, I have to believe that because if you don't have your phone getting in the way, you had to have known your classmates a little bit better than we do now. Then again, my graduating class was over 900. Just my class. They did build another high school right after I graduated because that was way too many freaking students up in those halls. But yeah, the chances of me knowing everyone I went to high school with, 0%. Unless you were in my radar, as we all know, I didn't pay attention. I barely saw what was going on around me. Classes, couldn't tell you what I learned. Not much, that's for dang sure. I got straight A's and learned next to nothing. But I can sew a really solid dress. My spelling still sucks. If comma splices were a crime, I'd be locked up forever. What other subjects are there? Math? Girl. No. Ain't nothing more embarrassing than my calculator history. You can look up my Google searches all day. I got nothing to be embarrassed about on there. Go for it. Do not open my calculator app because if there is some sort of history that you can run of what addition I have been doing on that app, I would grab my phone back from you so fast. You're not allowed to see that. I went to tutoring every morning at 7 a.m. for math, by the way, for many years. I was in honors math. Can we believe? I was in honors math. Homegirl did her homework. Okay, I was really good about that. Test day came around and I was like, well, I hope every assignment will make up for the low score I'm about to get right here, right now. Sticking on the subject of math, in college, I obviously did not qualify for the upper level math class that you're required to take, the 1050 or whatever. So I knew that I was going to have to take the lower level class, like math 900, to then get into 1030 to get into 1050. I think that's the order that it went. And I looked at that guidance counselor and was like, that is never going to happen. So tell me another option. I am not taking 3 math classes. Absolutely not. No, there must be another way. And if there is not another way, let's forge a trail because I am not doing it. There was another option. It was a 5-credit math class. It was called Math 1000. I took it 3 times a week. It was an hour and 45 minutes per class for an entire semester. I know where my capabilities lie. I can pump something out, no problem. You give me a goal, you give me a deadline, I'm there. Especially for something I don't want to do. If I know that there is an end in sight, I can put my head down and get through it. But if you're telling me I have to have multiple steps to get to the end, no, I'm going to quit right here, right now. Not worth it. I am so willing to give up at any point in time. I will gladly ride my way through something that's way more work in the short term for a long-term output. If it can be done more efficiently, I will always be choosing that option. And that's what I did in this math class. I went to every single class. The teacher was actually phenomenal. He wore ripped up jeans and shirts with holes in it and looked straight up homeless. Like, this man washed up from going overboard in Utah Lake and just walked into this classroom. I mean, I couldn't believe that this was a college educated man standing in front of me, but homeboy knew math. He knew how to add 2 numbers together and explain it to me. So grateful for him and his ripped jeans, but even that was never going to be enough. Thank goodness that class had a TA. Guys, once again, I'm going to point out the resources that you have to be using. If it is there for you, if it is available, if someone is being paid to help you, you better use them. You use the crap out of them. You use them to the point that they wish they didn't get the job, because she became my personal math tutor. We met every day that there wasn't math class, and when she wasn't available, I was in the math lab. I was getting those people to help me with my homework. Absolutely, I was. I'm not doing a single problem alone. No, why would I spend 1 second of my time being frustrated not being able to do something? No, I'm going to ask for help. And for the final of that class, to get all 5 credits, it was this big cumulative test of all the information that we had covered, which was a ton of information. Obviously, it was a 5-credit class because it combined all those classes together. So it gave me the math credit that I needed while skipping all the other steps. That's why it was so intense. This was a 60 question packet, and each question took probably a normal person that's like decent at math, maybe 2 to 3 minutes to solve. It was at least 5 minutes per question for me. So you can do that math on your own. Heaven knows I can't. Needless to say, it was a long time that it took me to do this packet. He gave it to us about 2 weeks before the test. And no lie, I had tutoring appointments every single day for the max amount of time that she could be booked. Shout out to Lucy. You really were a real one. I would not have passed that test without her. We would go through question by question until we got to the end of the packet, and then we would immediately start over for that entire 2 weeks. And it must have killed her because by the time we reached question 60 and flipped it back to question 1, it was as if we hadn't already done that question 3 times. I just couldn't do it. But I did pass that test and I did get an A because perfectionism really knows no bounds. I did what I had to do. What other subjects are there in school? Science? No. Science is a no-go. I took the ACT, which is, in my opinion, one of the worst ways to judge someone academically and as a person in general. And I think it is an actual crime that scholarships are based off ACTs. I am saying this with so much bitterness because I took that test 4 times and the highest score I got was a 22. And that was not the last time I took it either. I got a 20, a 21, a 22, took it a 4th time, got a 20 again. Yeah, my reading comprehension score, 31. 31, highest is 35. Reading, 30. Math, I think a 15. And then science was a 12. I believe that was kind of the averages that it always led up to. But here's what gets me, is you're telling me that my reading comprehension is just off the frickin' charts, right? That's what your test is telling you. Isn't that what it's saying? Why is it then that for the science section, which is all question-based, it's all these like big fat words, I couldn't understand what was going on? I feel like that's on you. I don't feel like we are accurately judging my abilities here because you're contradicting yourself with my score. This whole topic of high school and college and things, it gets me so riled up to talk about it because I was so bamboozled. The wool was really pulled over my eyes. The lies were never ending. You want to know what the number one sentence I heard throughout my junior high and high school days were? This was the sentence that I lived by. Ready to hear the lie that I had running through my veins? It was, and I quote, "This is going to be so good for scholarships. This is going to help you get scholarships." Ooh, I get chills just thinking about how false that was. That sentence was straight from the devil because there was no truth in it. Nope. Let me just say right here, right now, I got straight A's in high school. I also got straight A's in college. Did that do anything for me? No, not at all. If I could go back and redo anything, it would be this. I don't really like to say that I live with regrets. Really, the only regrets that I have are food regrets, like things I didn't eat and wish I did. You know, like when you see a cookie that looks really good, but you're like so full. I've thought about that cookie for decades. I wonder what it tasted like. That's the kind of regret that I most often reflect on. One time in 9th grade, I was in the etiquette class, and the final for the class was you got to go to this really fancy restaurant. I don't remember what it was called, but it was mega fancy, and you had 2 options. You had ravioli or chicken, and at the time, I was like, about chicken, but I loved me some pasta. But what I didn't understand and didn't know was that it was spinach stuffed ravioli. Guys, this happened in 9th grade, and the amount of times that I have thought about the regret that I had over ordering that meal. Oh gosh, it's probably every time I look at ravioli or chicken. So really often, I think about that so much. I was so sad and everyone around me ordered the chicken, and one of my friends, she gave me a bite and it was the best chicken that I think I'd ever had in my life because I was thinking it was going to be some cheap old chicken, you know? I was like, nah, I can go to Chick-fil-A for that. But I forgot that we were at a super fancy restaurant with 5 courses. I've never been to a place like that before. I didn't understand that the chefs probably had greater abilities than the 17-year-old behind the fryer at Chick-fil-A. You know what I mean? Anyways, back to my main point, which was the scholarship situation. I was told constantly that all of the volunteer hours and things that I was doing was going to help me apply for scholarships. I want you all to know I didn't get a single scholarship my first 3 years of college, and the only time I started getting scholarships was when I turned 24 and the government finally starts helping ya. No one tells you that. Why is this not a talked about thing? We should be taking gap years. We should be promoting that because the older you are, the easier it is to pay for school. I didn't know that the government helps you with a Pell Grant once you turn 24. So all of a sudden, I have money for school for the first time ever. And I was like, what is this? Was it a scholarship? No. It was the government being like, hey, you're a little bit older. We'll give you some money, because we tricked everybody else into going to school immediately after graduating high school so that they graduate by the time they're 22, long before we have to pay anything. I mean, it's just crazy. But my low ACT score disqualified me from so many scholarships, so many of them. The full ride school scholarships, I wasn't getting any of those. I also had such high grades that I couldn't qualify for any of the low grade scholarships because, you know, they always preach that too. You don't have to have good grades to get scholarships. They have them for everybody. You can have a 2.9 GPA and you can get school fully paid for. Lies! And because my parents are amazing and incredible, and my dad makes a very decent amount of money, not enough to pay for my college, but, you know, enough to make sure that I get no government assistance. Yeah, it was amazing, doing so much good for my community for so many years, having this mysterious payout be promised to me and never getting it. Let's just list a couple of the things that I did for these elusive imaginary scholarships that don't exist. I went and volunteered at the old folks' home every single week. Every Thursday. I went when I was in junior high. Did I have any grandparent at the old folks' home? No, I didn't. But I wanted to get some service hours for scholarships. I was the bingo caller. I'm thinking back on this and I'm like, wow, what a crazy time. My mom would drive me over, drop me off for an hour or so, and then she'd come pick me back up because that was before I could even drive. This was started so young. If you are a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you might know of a little program called Personal Progress. We familiar, ladies? It's basically a program where you work on yourself. There's all these values. It's kind of like Boy Scouts where you earn merit badges. Or, well, maybe that's a bad comparison. Anyways, did I get 1 personal progress? No, I got 2. And I got 2 honor Bs. In addition to all the service that you have to do for each of the values, you can think of it as like earning a merit badge. You have like integrity and you have to do all these things and read all these scriptures and do all this service. And there's all sorts of requirements in order to get this medallion necklace that you can wear. You can also get this additional thing called an honor bee, which requires 40 additional hours of service. And you have to come up with a service project for that has to be approved. I got 2 of those. 2. Did it do anything for me? No, I don't remember it. Okay, yes, I'm being dramatic. I always love service. I am a service-oriented person. I love that my religion and beliefs teach that. I think it is very good to give back to your community, but that's not what we're focusing on right now. We're not focusing on the good that this created in me as a human. Not at all. No, we're here to park and bark about all of the lies that I was fed. That's what we're here to do. We're here to talk about the fact that I truly believed that everything that I was doing was going to lead to a financially free future, that I was going to get my schooling fully paid for, and that never happened, ever. I applied for hundreds of scholarships. That's not a lie. I bought a book on applying for scholarships. I applied for so many. And eventually, way past high school, about 4 years into college, that's when I got my first scholarship. and I did end up getting a couple. So I'm not going to say that I never got them, but were any of them a result of the things that I did in my youth? No, none of them were. Not a single one. Couple other things that I did. Every summer, there were programs at Thanksgiving Point called Growing Leaders. I can't believe I did this unpaid. I really can't. Kids would sign up for summer camps. They would pay a fortune for these summer camps, by the way. We would have these groups of kids and then an adult leader with us, and we would be with them from like 8 a.m. to 3, doing activities all day. We were teaching classes. It was a summer school camp program. It was just like a day camp type of thing. They were all different themes, and I had shifts like 3 times a week. I was there for hours. So much work and effort was put into that, and never saw payout. Other things that I did, every position that I held in Young Women's, I was president, I was secretary, I was always in a presidency from the time I was 12 years old until I was 18. Like, I was always in something. None of that mattered academically and on any sort of application. What other things did I do? I was on National Honor Society. I went to the FCCLA state competition twice and medaled twice. I got silver at state twice. This is actually bringing up another memory for me. Once upon a time, I was standing around the table with my entire family. My youngest brother was about to be student body president. He had just won the election for, his senior year. He was very excited. My brothers were all talking about their accomplishments that they had in high school. And my youngest brother said, "Oh, Nicole didn't have any." And I stood there so deeply offended. And I stood up and I said, "Are you kidding me right now? I lettered in FCCLA. I went to 2 state competitions. They were overnight in another city, and I won silver twice. I got an invitation to nationals, and I turned it down because I wasn't going to go to that. That sounded lame. But I got the invite. I designed a prom dress, made my own pattern, sewed the whole thing, and I was standing there like, what do you mean? There was a ceremony where my teacher invited my parents for that night so I could get up and get a special award in FCCLA. But no, apparently none of my accomplishments matter at all." And my brother goes, "Well, do you actually have the Letterman jacket to put your letter on?" You know what? Shut up. No, I don't, because I wasn't on student council and I didn't want the letter because I thought knowing it in your heart and putting it on a scholarship application was going to be enough for me. But turns out none of it was enough. It was just a waste of my time. Oh, thank goodness my friends were involved in all of these things with me. I forced them to be, or else I wouldn't have had any sort of life, and I actually think I might have turned to drugs because the disappointment and betrayal that I have felt over the years about none of these things happening for me, it's been pretty big. It's been a boulder that just came crushing on down. Oh my gosh. Thank goodness I know who Jesus is, because heaven help me if I didn't. Good night. To any teenager out there, they're all lying to you. They are. You know what? Have fun. Don't fail your classes. But I think some failure might have done me some good. I think getting a C might have taught me more life lessons than getting A's ever did. I think I might be a little less uptight and a bit less of a perfectionist if I wouldn't have relied on my grades to be my only personality trait and indicator of personal value. Even throughout college, there were seriously times where I was talking to my therapist and I was like, I think it would actually be healthy for me if I didn't complete a homework assignment. I think that might benefit me. And my therapist would be like, yeah, I agree. I think some failure could do you some good. But then, did I ever try it? Did I ever do it? Of course not. That's why I was in therapy. No, I had to get straight A's. I had to, because even in college, they were going to somehow lead to a scholarship, weren't they? The lie just kept on being told, and it never did. My high GPA did help lead me to my Switzerland opportunity, but it didn't need to be that high. You know, like it only needed to be a 3.0. I didn't need to be at a 3.8. That was just so much time that I could have spent doing things that I wanted to do and not doing homework. I don't live with many regrets, but if I did, they would be that ravioli and that I did too much homework. I know it sounds so dumb, but you all know how stupid I am. So like, what did this yield? What did this result in? Nothing good. Anything that I have learned, truly just ingrained in me, it's been from YouTube. It's been from reading my own books. The textbook on sex education that I got in my human sexuality class that really helped me know that I wanted to go into sex ed, that textbook, we only had to read like 3 chapters for that class. I read the entire thing by myself of my own volition because I loved it. I loved learning about that topic, but I wasn't ever tested on the stuff that I read. So to me, I'm like, why did I pay thousands of dollars when I could have just paid the $50 for the textbook, read it, and known the same material that I know now? You know what I mean? What is the point of college again? And I sit here right now debating whether or not I want to do a master's while I'm saying this. What is the point again? Drop me a pin because I can't seem to find it. And I don't think I ever did. If the thing that I wanted to do with my life didn't require a college degree, I probably wouldn't have done it. I would have done a trade school for sure. I think that those are way better and they have less annoying homework. To you kids out there, to you teens, take the gap years, stretch it out a little bit, take your time, go experience the world for a second. Just go see something other than Utah County. I think it'll do you some major good. Realize where your convictions lie and go after your passions, and if they don't require a degree, don't get one. You know, everyone's out here preaching, like, stay in school. I'm like, not if you don't need to, though. Save that money, pocket it, invest it in your future, because all of the money that I quote unquote invested in my future, I'm going to be paying that back for a hot second. And I do need to give some credit to my parents. For the first few years of college, they did help me out with tuition, and I'm very grateful for that. But they could only do it for so long because there were 3 of us in college once my youngest brother got home from his mission. I was very privileged and was able to get some help, but I always have had to have a full-time job throughout all of college. I had to take out student loans even though I hated it because I hate debt. It's the worst thing to me. I just kept saying that, you know, I'll take out this one thing and then that scholarship that I was promised is gonna come through, and it never did. Except after I turned 24. Remember, there is a caveat. I was in school for 6 years, so we're just talking about the first 4 that none of this ever happened for me. When I left the doors of Lehigh High School, none of them seemed to be there. And because of that, we're gonna loop right back around. You did me so dirty all those years lying to me. Why on earth would I throw a reunion with my own money? No, that is crazy. Well, I think that about covers it. I feel like I really got something off my chest just then. A chip off my shoulder, maybe? I feel lighter. I did love high school. I did benefit from those service hours, but not in the ways that I thought I would. I don't know, I like gained personal good character or something like that. I would have rather had financial gain personally, but I guess beggars can't be choosers, you know what I mean? And heaven knows I'm a beggar because I never got scholarships. I just have one more thing to say, to address, really, before we end this little chit chat, and it's very important. It's gonna require your full attention. So if you're currently driving, I'm gonna need you to pull over. Get that signal on and pull off the side of the freeway if needed. If you're in the middle of cooking, you know what? Just let it burn and order some pizza, because that's all anybody's gonna want anyways. Not to say you aren't a good cook, but this announcement is really important. If you're just chilling, listening to this, not doing anything right now, first off, girl after my own heart, that is exactly what I would be doing in this current moment. So stay where you are. I want everybody here to get on your little phone, scroll down to the rating and review section of whatever listening platform that you listen to this on. I know lots of you are listening. I see the numbers. Where are my reviews at? Can you write them, please? Please. For me, I can't promise you any financial gain, but I can tell you that I'll be happy. It might in some way make up for all of the lies that I was told in my youth. Would that motivate you? Go write me a review, please. If it's negative, maybe keep it to yourself. But, this is a free country. Not free in the college sense, but free as in free of speech. So, you know what? Say what you gotta say, girl. I understand. You put your opinion out there. You die on that hill. I respect it either way. Please and thanks. And follow the Instagram too. I spend a lot of time on the Instagram captions, the pictures I put on there. Not that that needs to be guilt tripping at all, but guys, they are funny. I do try and add some comedic value anywhere I put my finger. So go check out the Instagram. It's the same name as the pod, life period according to Nikki. And I don't know, maybe upload a little story telling your people to go listen to me. Wouldn't that be delightful? I'll repost. Tag my regular Instagram, NikkiKelly_101, but especially tag the podcast Instagram. I want your friends, your family, only the cool ones, to listen to this. So, if it needs to be shared on a closed story, I respect that. I mean, I want to be open for everybody, but let's just make sure whoever we have coming in is gonna add to the vibes, not take away. Okay, copy the link, send it to your grandma. But for anybody that needs just a little bit more help, let me direct you step by step. On Spotify, you're gonna click my podcast name, Life According to Nikki, with my little profile picture. So then it takes you to the main page with all of my episodes. Click that follow button. Click that little bell, ring-a-ding-ding, so you know when my dulcet tones are newly available. You're then gonna go to the right next to the little settings gear, and there will be 3 dots. Click the 3 dots. Press rate show. It should be your second option if you have the iOS update that I have, which is probably centuries old because I never update my phone. So I don't know, maybe in a different location on your phone, but I believe in your powers of reading and I think you're gonna find it. Go ahead, click that. Give me whatever stars you feel are appropriate. Then here comes the big part, all right? You're not done. Because on Spotify, for whatever reason, again, could be the lack of my iOS update, but it has nowhere that you can actually leave a written review, which pisses me off because I only really listen to things on Spotify myself, so I hate that you gotta switch apps. But listen, we're in it together. You're pulled over to the side of the freeway. We are here. Might as well just complete it. Go to Apple Podcasts. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to look up the pod. You're going to go to the main page. And on this one, you're going to scroll to the very, very bottom. And it says rating and reviews. You can tap to rate. Give me those little twinkle twinkles. And then, this is important, press the write a review button. It's in purple, or at least it is on my phone. Give it a second to load. Give us a funny title. I'm going to be looking for the funniest reviews, and you will get a shout out. And I don't know, should you guest star on the show? Maybe. I think that would actually be so fun if I just choose my next guest based on my reviews and who was the funniest. I feel like we'd vibe just off of your review alone, You could absolutely just leave a, hey, love her with all of my heart and soul, die for her type of review. I wouldn't be mad. Or write something hilarious. I would just absolutely love it if someone had never listened to my podcast before and they go onto the review section to see if it's worth listening to, and the comment section in the reviews are just unhinged, funny comedy bits about not only how funny everybody thinks I am, because I'd love that validation, but how funny you all are, so that they can know if this is their group, if this is their tribe, if they are gonna fit in the vibes, if they're throwing out a giggle at just the review section, then I think that they belong here. If it's just nothing really worth reading, then it's probably not a podcast worth listening to. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not much of a comedy writer, ChatGPT, baby. That's what it's here for. Just plug in, tell it to give you a funny review, tell them the things that you love about me. I'm sure it'll write something fantastic. Blatant plagiarism is absolutely welcome here. So feel free to use whatever resources you need, and then take your 2 little thumbs or other fingers, if for some reason you don't have thumbs, and type away. Give me something to read. I just need to give a huge shout out to Becca Lynn I love you forever and ever. You were my very first review, and I just want to thank you for that. You guys are wonderful. If anyone knows Maddie Murphy personally, get me on her radar, please. I would really love to get on Maddie Murphy's radar. I know Utah is a small place. I know that people know people. So I just figured I'd throw that one out there. I have DM'd her. I have emailed her. I would love to have her on the pod. Yeah, if you know Maddie Murphy from the Bad Broadcast, I feel like we'd vibe. I also feel like her audience might maybe just a little bit like me, and we could really build something here with her help. That's all I really had today. You guys, you know you're the best. I love you so much. Thank you for listening to my thoughts on life, because this has been Life According to Nikki. See you next week.